We're going to start today in Australia, where progressives scored a massive victory in the Australian elections. Those were on Saturday. Dozens of you emailing me about this and saying, David, you've got to cover what's happening in Australia, because not only is it a massive victory for the left, it's also a big signal about what could be possible, maybe, in the United States if the United States became significantly less crazy. And we'll get to that in a moment. The Liberal Party in Australia, led by the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, wanted a fourth term in a row. And the opposition, the main opposition, the strongest opposition, was the left-wing Labour Party, led by Anthony Albanese. Votes are still being counted, but it does appear, as of this morning, as though the Labour Party will have the ability to form a government due to some major wins that they had. And as of right now, and again, they're still counting votes, these numbers may change. As of this morning, I should say, this morning, Australia time, Labour looks to be up to 73 seats, while the Liberal Party appears to have lost 24 seats from 75 before the election down to only 51. This is a big defeat for the centrist Liberal Party, and it is a crushing victory for the left-wing Labour Party. Now, also of note, the Green Party, led by Adam Bant, appears to have secured 3 seats. They previously had 1, so gaining 2 from 1 to 3 seats. As of this morning, the Green Party, although the final numbers may change a little bit. So this would make Anthony Albanese the 4th Labour leader. And by the way, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The 4th Labour leader to win control of the government since World War II. So the first question is, how on earth did Labour achieve this? What did they run on? Well, a huge component of Labour's 2022 platform was climate change. It was a platform of renewal, not revolution, and Labour making a number of promises along the lines of the environment and dealing with climate change. Labour promised to nearly double Australia's 2030 target cuts to carbon emissions, saying, let's cut by 43% by 2030 and be at completely net zero by 2050. Very ambitious. Is it possible to do that? Well, time will tell, but they ran on it and the voters liked it. Transitioning to renewable energy, upgrade the nation's energy grid, roll out solar banks and community batteries. As many of you know, it's great that solar panels are becoming more and more efficient, but you've got to be able to store that energy to really increase the viability of solar at a larger level. The Labour Party said that they would approve new coal mines if they stack up environmentally and economically. So not saying we're not doing any more fossil fuels, but saying it's really got to make sense in context. Promise to keep the Australian Great Barrier Reef more protected, to protect endangered species, to do more about bushfire recovery, and also campaigned on increasing Australia's federal national minimum wage, more funding for childcare centers, nursing homes, and disability services. And understand that this is not communism. This is not socialism. There were right-wingers all over Twitter and all over Truth Central and all of these other places saying Australia has gone completely communist. Now, the really funny thing is many of the very same people would say that the Liberal Party was also communist. Now, understand this is true, what I would call left, center, left. You've got the center. You've got the center left, which would be like the Liberal Party, like Justin Trudeau in Canada, more or less. That's center left. And then you've got, this is not far left. This is what I would call left, center left. It's social democracy. It's certainly to the left of Biden and Justin Trudeau, but it is not socialism and it is not communism. It's basically where I am. It's social democracy in something more or less approximating the Nordic model, the Northern European model. So understand that many of the same people that are now saying, oh, Australia has elected socialists, they say Justin Trudeau is a socialist. They said that the Australian Liberal Party was also socialist when they were not. So these people, you can't really go to them. This is going to be a major experiment. Can Labour in power get things done? And maybe even more importantly, are the things labor wants to do actually viable? Will they work? Because another big criticism of many of the ideas that I and other social democrats espouse is that stuff would never work if you had the opportunity to make it law, to make it policy, to actually do this stuff. It will implode your country. It will be a disaster for your country. Well, let's see. And depending on the level of obstruction that's possible in Australia, we may, in a few years, have some answers. Do these ideas actually work, despite what the right loves to say when people like me and others propose them in the United States? So it's going to be a fascinating time. And this is, we can't shortchange what this is. This is a massive victory for the left running on climate change, environmental justice, economic justice, renewable energy, all of these things we've been talking about. A couple of notes. Stephanie from Australia wrote into me and said, quote, one of the most interesting aspects of this has been a large number of very wealthy, traditionally liberal party inner city districts being taken by a group of loosely aligned independents who are economically moderate right, but pro-action on climate change, political integrity, and gender equality. This is being seen as a repudiation of the conservative government's move to the right towards a more Republican style. Would an independent movement like that, with funding from rich, moderate conservative backers, as is the case here, have any chance in similar areas of the U.S.? Well, the question in the U.S. is, I don't know that we have that group. I mean, I guess anecdotally, there are some center-right moderates who are quite socially liberal and pro-action on climate change. But I don't really know that that's really a big contingent. I mean, here, you know, if you think of the center right in the United States, and I know everybody, this is fraught because people would say those aren't really center right people. If you think of the center right in the United States, which is people like Joe Manchin and Mitt Romney, they don't seem big on taking bold action on climate. They seem to really want to kind of just protect business interests when it comes to thinking about climate. So sure, Stephanie, it would work if we had that contingent in the United States. I don't know that we do, but I'm willing to have my mind changed. Also, our friend Josh Zepps, who I've been on his show. I don't remember if he's been on my show. He's Australian. He had a good tweet. Quote, the lesson of the Australian election is unambiguous. If you refuse to address a big problem that voters persistently say they care about, they'll smack you down. Australians are fed up with excuses about climate chaos. They've been saying this for years. Welcome to democracy. Hopeful results in Australia, a really big deal. As many of you know, I'm a busy person. I don't always have the exact correct nutritional plan for my meals every single day. And that's why I also take a multivitamin and a couple of supplements. But doing them all separately can be a little bit time consuming, which is why Athletic Greens is just fantastic. And they're one of our sponsors. I've been using the Athletic Greens since last year. It just really simplifies nutrition. I just do a scoop of the AG1 and I'm getting 75 high quality vitamins and minerals and my probiotics, and it's all from whole food sources. I drink it in the morning. I know I'm good. I don't have to be messing around with different pills and supplements or whatever, or spend time planning what time of day do I need to take each one. I just get it all with one scoop. You can put it in a smoothie. You can drink it straight. It tastes great. And then I'm just good for the day. It supports gut health, and I'm getting everything that I need and I'm looking for. Athletic Greens is giving my audience a free 1-year supply of vitamin D plus 5 free travel packs when you go to athleticgreens.com/Pacman, and the link is down below.